So what is unlocked? But more importantly, what does unlocked mean for you? Hi, my name is Sheldon Sonnenberg, physical therapist, athletic trainer, and strength conditioning coach for over 12 years. Now I've spent the last 12 years traveling, learning from what I thought was the best of the best out there, but also just great mentors. Been blessed to learn a lot of great techniques that have gotten people where they need to be in a lot more efficient manner with less cost and less time. See, over the years, what I've learned from working in the high school, college, professional setting, outpatient, inpatient, acute care hospital, and home health is everyone comes into this from a different walk of life. To keep it simple, our bodies are exposed to many forces throughout our life that cause different injuries. But over the years, if you want to relate one thing that we can all attend to and know that keeps these forces going into the same pattern, it's hand dominance. That's right, you never would have thought that. At least I wouldn't have gone through this motion. How I learned about this was not only from the great mentors I had, but also applying the same techniques to myself. So throughout life, let's just take, for example, I'm right-handed. As grown up, going through sports, I played high school golf, football, soccer, other many sports like baseball growing up that put me into the same motion, rotation, using these forces. And just like yourself, let's just say maybe you weren't into athletics, you weren't into sports, but maybe you travel a lot, maybe for work, you're always in a certain position, or you're always reaching or moving into certain patterns. So our nervous system more or less takes this muscle memory and keeps us moving in the same direction. Our muscles start to pull the bones that we have, our structure, our skeletal structure, into these patterns, not even thinking about this. So throughout the day, you're not even realizing this, but you're going through these motions over and over. What that ends up doing is pulling you with the forces against gravity into certain patterns where our muscles more or less sometimes either get too stretched or sometimes too compressed. When this happens, it pulls the joints out of position. The joints cannot connect. It's kind of like taking a plug out of the socket. If you don't have that plug into the socket, you don't have electricity. Well, if I take my joints and they're not set, they're offset, and they're not touching, they don't get that electricity, the nervous system. So when we realign things, the receptors of the joints can touch, feeds the nervous system, and more or less our muscles can contract again. It's so simple once you understand this, but for the most part, most people don't think about this when they're going throughout their normal daily activity. So what I'm going to do over the course here is educate you on what it takes to get your body in the optimal position for whatever activity you're involved with. And so it doesn't mean you have to be an athlete. You could be a traveler, you could be a parent, you could be just whatever it is that you do that keeps you moving. What is your activity like? And for the most part, most people over time just kind of become inactive. Whether it's due to pain, maybe energy levels are low, they're just not as motivated. But with unlocked and with this system, it's very simple. It's a method to take away those big forces that are causing you to get out of position. So once we understand this, it's very easy. We start with the mobility phase where we get you moving into certain ranges of motion. That way we open up your joints. Now when we can open up your joints, we can take those joints that are out of position, realign them so that we can get connectivity back to the nervous system. Once this happens, we have a lot more activation of our muscle groups, then we can go through the exercises with a lot more strength. So I'm not so concerned about your strength right at first. I'm more concerned about your mobility and the motion of your joints. So we want to get you realigned. We want both sides of your body activating because again, hand dominance, we tend to go into the same patterns. Even with people that are ambidextrous where they go to both sides, then we also can work with them because they don't realize sometimes too that they also do one side more than the other. So here what we want to do is take you through the motions, get your muscles activated, open those joints up, release them, then we can work on your flexibility. So once we get the joints realigned, we want to loosen those muscles that are around the joints that hold it in place so that everything stays properly in line and is not pulling itself back out of position. For so many years, you've been going through so many patterns, not realizing that these muscles are pulling the bones out and you're more or less offset, you're not getting the activation you need. Now you can still function, you can still walk, you can still play, do the activities you do, but over time, things start to lose its structure and the form. So what we're gonna do is take you through these simple motion, these exercises that increase your mobility, then we work on your flexibility, then we move into the strengthening and the balance phase. Now these become a lot simpler over time once you know this, but it's all about the positioning first. So just like I always tell my clients, right before we go through any exercises, set the posture first, then do the motion. So that's what we're gonna do. With Unlocked, we're gonna help you get the posture first, then we're gonna go through the active exercises and get you where you need to be. So I look forward to you going through this journey with me. Unlocked is a great, simple program And we'll start with the core of the low back because this is where the most force is generated, which is around the pelvis. You have your pelvic bone, which is the bigger bone, bigger muscle groups like your quads, your hamstrings, your piriformis, and they have a lot of torque. Once we get that in a great position, it's easier to offset the forces that happen to either the neck, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, all the way down to the knees and the ankles. So I look forward to helping you with this because I think you're gonna realize a lot of correlation between the reasons you've been having these certain injuries and knowing that, hey, everything throughout the body is connected. It's very simple, very easy, and efficient, that once we get this one thing down and we understand the hand dominance, the pattern that your body's been going through, and more or less realign your body and get your body in an optimal state to where both sides are functioning like it should, you're gonna experience a whole new you. You're gonna become more active, more efficient with your movements, less pain, and less injuries. I look forward to helping you get unlocked.